This is the Triple Play Fantasy Basketball Pod. I'm your host, Coach James Lewis. It's week 5, NBA Fantasy Basketball. We're talking waiver wire pickups, drops, people to watch. Trying to keep you locked in so that way you can be victorious come the end of your fantasy season. And as you know, every week is very, very vital, very important. Let's touch on some waiver pickups that you must pick up this week. Some of these names have been talked about. They've been mentioned in previous weeks, but there's still room. Grayson Allen, he's only rostered in 65% of leagues. He's had double digits in every game except for one where he had 8. And he's been turning it on as of late, 22% pickups in the last week alone. He's averaging 16 a game. He's giving you 4 rebounds, 1.5 assists. But the most impressive thing here that he's going to bring you statistically is he's third in the league in 3-pointers made. Again, third in the league in 3-pointers made at 3.8 a game. That's only behind Steph Curry's 5.3 and Buddy Hield 4.2, while Chris Middleton is still dealing with COVID, while Dante DiVincenzo has yet to see the floor this season. Grayson Allen has been a focal point of this offense. He's shooting guard and small forward eligible. And if your league has figured that out, he's probably rostered. If not, you gotta pick this guy up, especially in category leagues where he's third in the league at a certain category. Somebody to watch after Middleton gets rolling, gets back. They get Dante DiVincenzo back. He might not see the same production, but for right now, he's a must add. And a guy that I think is a season wide own at 64% with only a 2% pickup last week. So I guess maybe the smart leagues have figured it out. That's Jalen Brunson. Brunson on the season is averaging 15 points, basically 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and shooting 49% from the field. That's solid production in any fantasy league. It's giving you 1.2 3-pointers, maybe not the greatest points, 7 steals, but 15, 5, and 5 in any league should be owned. In the last 14 days, he's averaging 18 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 steal. So Jalen Brunson should be rostered in every league. Somebody that's sizzling right now, and that is the fantasy basketball legend that is Lu Dort. Lu Dort is shooting guard, small forward, eligible in the past 2 games. Just yesterday, 22 points, 5 rebounds, 3 stocks for Sacramento. 2 days prior, 27 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. He's only rostered in 45% of leagues, and that is at plus 13 uptick. Yes, it gets frustrating with his up and down play, with his nagging small injuries, but OKC is playing him on back-to-backs this year, which they were not doing at the end of last season. On the season, he's averaging 15 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, shooting 40% from the field. So you would like that to increase. And the 1.5 3-pointers a game is decent, but you would also like to see more of that as he's produced from the 3-point line in the past. The field goal percentage is not that great, but he should be rostered in 12 team formats category style. Again, these roster percentages are based on the Yahoo current state as of Saturday, November 13th. We're trying to gear you up for week 5. And Bobby Portis, if you want to know how serious I am, look at his eyes. This power forward center eligible threat for the Milwaukee Bucks is 67% owned, which had an uptick of 18% just in last week. And last week he averaged 18 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 49% from the field, 2.3 threes per game in this last week. Yesterday on Friday night against Boston, he had 22 points, 6 boards, 2 assists. This was a game without Giannis, who was a late scratch. Milwaukee is already dealing without Chris Middleton, as mentioned before, as well as Brook Lopez. The stocks, though, are pretty impressive on the season. 1.3 steals, 1 block. In a game against Philly on the 9th of November, he had 19 points, 10 boards, 3 assists, 4 3-pointers made, and 3 stocks. That is a stream if you picked him up for that day. So shout out Bobby Portis. He should be rostered right now. This a guy that was the headline of their drop list come week 1. That was Thaddeus Young, as he was getting coaching DMPs. He's currently rostered 55% of leagues. 12% uptick in the last week. He is power forward and center eligible. He is a jack of all trades. If you've rostered him in the past, or if you had him for Chicago last year, he's going to get you points. He's going to get you rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. And just last week, he averaged 12 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, shooting 73% from the field, 1.3 steals, 1.7 blocks. Of course, when you look at a weak sample size, that's not huge, but you also don't want to see that full season scale because you get coaching DNPs. He was not playing that first 6-7 games. Against Sacramento on November 10th, he had 17 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 stocks. So to me, Thad Young, maybe not all leagues are hip on his pickup. Please pick him up. Swinging for the fences here, but Frank Kaminsky is the highest gaining as far as percentage-wise rostered in all of fantasy basketball, going from 5% to 35% just in the last week. And his last week's stacks include 16.3 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists on 61% from the field. It's giving you a 3. He's giving you 1.3 blocks, which is not something that he's been great at in the past. He blew up. Again, if you had him on a stream on November 10th, he had 31 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. He made 2 threes. He had a block against Portland. With DeAndre Ayton having a lower leg contusion, not playing currently, it's opened up minutes for Frank the Tank, and Kaminsky has ran with it, and he's playing high rate. So he's somebody that you want to roster right now. Nicholas Batum is hot as of late. The last night was not his best performance, but this small forward, power forward eligible Nicholas Batum is benefiting on minutes that Kawhi Leonard is not giving you this season as he's recovering from his torn ACL injury. Just last week, he averaged 17 points, 7 rebounds, gave you an assist, 67% from the field, 4 threes. So that's important. Nicholas Batum doesn't get you all around buckets all over the court anymore. But when he's hitting his 3, as we saw at the beginning of last season, he's an important guy to roster. And when he's giving you 1.7 steals, again, this is a short sample size. People are getting hit. 63% rostered, 21% uptick in the last week. So Nick Batum, Terrance Mann is one of those guys on the watch list. So you got some watch list guys that you want to take a look at. And of course, Terrance Mann in the playoffs last year, he had that 39-point explosion. In the Western Conference semis, he's 45% rostered. That actually went down after yesterday when he had a donut, 18 minutes. So on the season, he's averaging 11, 6, 3, 46% from the field. And he's a young player. He's a guy that, you could see his game increasing. So he's somebody to watch. I'm not necessarily telling you to pick him up. Somebody to watch that's coming back off of injuries. Saturday savvy move. If your league has IL spots, roster spots, picking him up and putting him on the bench, and then using another pickup to pick somebody else because he will be back sometime soon. So if you got IL spots to give, and he's sitting there on Saturday, and you haven't used your pickups, pick him up. You can pick another guy up, and then you'll have him sitting there for when he comes back, and then you can make a judgment call on as far as that's concerned. There's a lot of players in that backcourt, and with Ayo Dosunmu playing very well as of late, he might be on the move for trades. But just last year, he averaged 15 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and he gave you almost 2.5 3-pointers a game. Yeah, it doesn't shoot high field goal percentage, but 15, 4 and 5 is rostered anywhere. So take a look at Coby White as he's coming. Chris Boucher, a guy that's been puzzling his season thus far. The only reason I put him on here on the watch list because he had a revival last night on November 12th as he had 17 points, 6 boards, 1 steal, 2 blocks. And last year he was averaging 14 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 blocks a game. This season has been a complete blunder. He's shooting 37 from the field, but if this is sustainable, if he can keep it up, Chris Boucher is a hot name that you really just want to keep a look on, and maybe you strike gold at the right time because he's had a terrible start to the season. Davion Mitchell is good at basketball. He's a winner. I like him a lot. Just last week, he's averaging 12 points, 4 rebounds, 4.5 assists. He had a game where he had 8 assists, which is career high, 2 threes a game against Charlotte. On November 5th, he had 19 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, hit 4 threes. He's not shooting the highest percentage. He's still getting used to this NBA three-point line, but I watch him. I like him. And he's a guy that hasn't played less than, I think, 20 minutes in any game this season. So shout out Davion Mitchell and somebody on the watch list. 2 guys that have been benefiting based on injuries, or Shake Milton and Korkmaz. 2 guys that, are rosterable for the time being. But when Tobias Harris comes back, when Joel Embiid comes back, when Seth Curry is fully healthy, these are guys that it probably will take a dip. But in the past week, they've been, if you've had them, you've benefited. Players that we got to flat out drop. We got to get rid of. Put them on the desert. Get them out of here. And they all play for one team. Desmond Bane, DeAnthony Milton, Kyle Anderson. They all have benefited based on injury. And that was Dylan Brooks, a guy that shoots more shots than anybody on Memphis last year. And he gets a high usage rate, and he really puts it up. And he plays a lot. And he's a cornerstone of that, Memphis Grizzlies team. And you're going to see players like Desmond Bane, who's now 54% rostered and minus 13 last week, as he had a game where he had 2 points, 1 rebound, and shot 1 for 10 from the field. That's going to kill your field goal percentage for the entire week. So last week he averaged 8 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, under 30% from the field. That hot shooting has fallen off the cliff. And he's a guy that you gotta cut ties with. You gotta get rid of right now. I know he's only in his second year, and he'll have up and downs as he does with his 3-point shooting. But right now, you can't roster the guy. DeAnthony Melton, who's a guy that's been giving you a solid number of stocks this year at 2.3. He's just not gonna give you enough production. Yesterday, on Friday night, November 12th, he had 3 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. Cutting ties with DeAnthony Melton, as well as Kyle Anderson, who still eats in every category. He just doesn't give you enough buckets. He averages 8.4 points on the season, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. That's okay. 1 3, 1 steal. But again, just yesterday, he had 4 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Yet on 11-10 against Charlotte, he had 12 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. Now that's a solid line, but that's not something consistent. So if the Grizzlies play 4 games next week, maybe he's somebody that you could keep for a week, but something that you want to watch. Now, injuries of note, things to keep in mind when you're talking about pickups. Joel Embiid has COVID. Nikola Vucevic has COVID. Yeah, it's real. Colin Sexton, knee, torn meniscus, biggest major injury that he's out for a very long time. Ricky Rubio owners are doing backflips right there, but Michael Porter Jr. with the back, we don't know how long that he's going to be out. But again, Burton was a huge pickup. Barton, I should say, was a huge pickup at the beginning of the year. If you had him, you're very happy. He had 2 games of 30 in the last 2 weeks. Jalen Brown being out with a hamstring injury. We've seen Dennis Schroeder eat off of that. He had 38 yesterday. Kelly Olynyk out with a knee. That helps Stewart owners and anybody else that he was kind of eating minutes from. Brandon Ingram and those poor Pelicans is out. And then everybody else that kind of have COVID, they'll be coming back soon. So, Sixers, we do see light at the end of the tunnel in a little bit with Tobias Harris and Matisse Thybulle coming back sometime soon. Mobley owners and Allen owners are still happy that K-Love and Lauri Markkanen are not there, but even if they are there, they're still going to produce at a high level. Of course, LeBron's abdomen injury is going to push it back some more weeks. Teams with 4, if you got pickups and you got somebody that you on drop list, look at these teams. Hawks, Nets, Hornets, Bulls, Nuggets, Lakers, Grizzlies, Heat, Bucks, Clippers, T-Wolves, Pelicans, 76ers, Suns, and Blazers all have 4 games this week. Teams with 3 include the Celtics, Cavs, Mavs, Nuggets, Rockets, Pacers, Knicks, Thunder, Kings, Spurs, Raptors, and Jazz. And then this might be a deal breaker. If you were looking people on the Wizards or the Magic, Franz Wagner there, Jalen Suggs, this isn't the week to pick them up as they only have 2 games this week. So that's our pickups. Triple Play Fantasy week number 5. Shout out Steph Curry for going crazy with his 57 and 10. Shout out Tyrese Maxey, the hottest waiver pickup this season. They had 230 point explosions this past week and is playing 35 minutes a game. And then Anthony Edwards is just going stupid. Had 48 against the Warriors, 5 rebounds, 5 assists on 16 of 27 shooting. He's averaging 26, 6, and 4 on the season. So that's all we have, and I'll see you next week for our waiver pickups here. Triple Play Fan.